For this week's question, let's begin with the first part. Working with cross-functional teams who are having different goals, priorities, and yet they are brought into the same team to work together. In an ideal situation, every team member would have equal responsibility, wherein they would work together to ensure that the sprint goal is met, and whatever work we are considering within the sprint, that is developed as per the acceptance criteria. That's an ideal situation. However, in real-time situation, there are few members who are more or less majority of their allocation, their time is towards one project, and then there are few supporting team members who are shared across teams, and then there are certain experts or certain senior members who are again shared across team members, but they don't have a similar accountability or an ownership like the other members. So what I mean to say is there would be some developers, there would be some BAs who would be on the team, on the project dedicatedly, or having majority of their time for one specific project. But then there would be SMEs, architects, tech leads, for example, or some senior members who are being shared across multiple projects, or some of them are also trying to mentor the technical members or the BAs. In that case, what happens is, of course, the people who are on the project, they would have their eyes set on the sprint goal. However, the members who are SMEs or architects, they would be there with the goal to ensure to whatever the open query or the question is from these members, it should be resolved as soon as possible, as soon as the query is brought to them. There should not be any bottleneck on them that something comes to them but it is stuck for some reason. They have a different goal as compared to the other members. Similarly, technical member would have a goal that the efficiency of the code and the technical debt should be minimized in each delivery that we send out in the production or in the UAT environment. But the sprint goal, if it's being met or not, that's something, it might not be the primary aim for them. Part 2 of the same question is, how do we work with such a team which is being pulled across in all the different directions? Yes, it's going to be a challenge, but it is if we are able to mitigate it. It requires a lot of planning, prioritization, preparation, and bidirectional communication is required, wherein whatever we or my team needs from such shared team members, it should be communicated to them in time, in advance. The meetings, the work, whatever bottleneck is, or the communication channel should be set up in such a way that whatever the queries or questions is coming across to them, we are able to send that across as soon as the question or that situation arises, and then it's up to them how fast they can respond back. Sometimes they want to have a quick meeting. We should know how to set up that meeting and who all are mandatory people, who all are not really required in those discussions. Sometimes a ping on a Teams or a Skype would also make the difference. That also is a good enough thing. Sometimes maybe they are not at all available. We should have enough people in our network to find alternative people as well who can help at that moment. All that certainly helps. Another thing which has been helping me is weeding out the risk. What happens is risks are always going to be there. So plan out all the risk that you can foresee and do that activity every day. So what happens is whatever risk is upcoming, certain or unforeseen, whatever is going to come up to you, try and think about the mitigations, contingency, what can be done if that happens, what can be done to avoid it completely altogether. All that, if I'm doing that is something which helps me to bring an effective work at the end of the day. The third part is also related. What happens in case of conflicts? Again, to a large extent, conflicts can be minimized if that activity on the risk or that time spent on the risk planning is good enough. However, majority of the conflicts in my situations are multiple conflicting, competing priorities are there because these members are shared across multiple projects. So because they are being shared across multiple projects, they might have two equal priorities which come together and they have to decide which one to go for, or sometimes we have to decide and we don't have much time to decide on. It's generally on case to case basis. Plus that level of communication channel, maybe we don't need a call at that moment, just a quick question on the team's chat would make the difference. Or if that the other person can give the pointers, look in this log or look into that particular server, or check if the certificates are expired or not, something like that. Those kind of directions really help. That's something what we can do. Another thing is planning their unavailable time. So if they have a planned unavailable time, that's the best. If it's informed, we can plan our work. My team can plan according to their time. If it's an emergency unplanned work, always try and have alternative people in your contact list, so that if a particular person is unavailable because of a production issue or because of some personal reason, you should have a second go-to person to whom you can reach out to. Last part of the same question is key lessons. For me, first and foremost is always try and plan for the second go-to person. That's very evident from my response. The second is, even if possible, try and plan within your team itself to groom them technically or functionally, maybe along with the team. Identify each person's area of improvement so that they all agree upon, and then we can make a plan out of it, how we can do to mitigate that particular bridge. Because essentially what we're trying to do is make the team members independent in themselves, and then this situation of reaching out to a second person would eventually not come up altogether. Second thing that we actively do is we try and plan our enablers well in advance. What happens is, if our enablers or enabler user story is in place, if I know that a user story is going to come in the next PI or in a few weeks, and if my enablers are in place, I would try and do that research well ahead in time, and maybe not face that crunch or that challenge at that situation or that scenario at all.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the people who are watching this particular video. I do work with different cross-functional teams in different projects, and who's having the different priorities and different opinions and different cultured people, different mindset people. I feel the best suited atmosphere for this is to have the safe framework adapted for this particular environment, so that you are working for one common goal called product, and ultimately you are working for one common thing called customer value delivery. How do you attain the alignment for all these persons when there is a blame game environment in the whole particular different projects? Is to have the alignment. How do you achieve the alignment? Is to have the PA planning done for this all the people who are working for different projects. It is very easy for me to say to adopt the safe, and it's for you as a Scrum Master to talk to the higher management, to tell them what are the benefits that you can get as form of ROI, or it can be any benefits that you are getting in the long run. To achieve the alignment to different culture people, different projects, or the different mindset people, is to have the alignment among all the people, is to have the PA planning done. The PA planning, if somebody knows, somebody don't know of it, is PA planning is for at least 8 to 12 weeks. It will be happening, and you plan for the next 8 to 12 weeks. And then one thing is that we as an RT will look for this particular PA planning is to have the alignment across all the people, right? So when there is alignment, then it is very easy for me to do the work. The second point to talk about the conflicts is you can have the team conflicts, which is very important for me. I'm saying the right thing. Team conflicts is very important to have. As you see, there is a Tuckman's model concept where you start from forming to adjourning. There are 5 stages to it. You start with forming, and then till you go till adjourning, there would be number of conflicts happening, through which you go to the performing stage, where the team now has reached to the level of performing to the best, and then they leave at the last stage. The very key for me to learn from this whole concept is to have the empathy that I need to show to all the people that I'm working with, the entire organization, and the courage that I need to show in each and every moment that I am practicing the safe, or I am practicing any best practices, the engineering practices of Scrum or Kanban or any Agile practice that you are having it. and it is very important for me to showcase even the incomplete functionality also to the respective stakeholders to get the right feedback from them rather than not showing anything. And very importantly, no matter what, show the progress to the higher management. That is very key to your success as a Scrum Master. That differentiates from a good Scrum Master to a great Scrum Master. And very important point for me to talk about the conflicts is, if I remember one point, is to have SOS, which is Scrum of Scrums. Even though if you are not following any safe framework, it is good to have Scrum of Scrums happening at least once in a week, so that you know that what dependencies you are having in a project. It can be discussed at the platform, and you come out from the meeting with some resolution so that you can implement at your ground to ensure that there is one thing, the common thing called alignment between all the people and all the projects. So this is one common advice that I can give you to all the people who is watching this. Thank you so much.